What is going down, my YouTube family? It is your boy Zeri, back at you to bring you the revamped noob guide for Korkhrim. Korkhrim is an orc fighter and a mage. So before we get into Korkhrim, just a reminder, if you are not part of that XMG family, you should be. Click that subscribe button, turn on notifications, all that other good stuff that goes along with it, so you become part of the family and you definitely don't miss out on a thing. So, without further ado, let's get into Korkhrim. Alright, so we talked that Korkhrim is an orc fighter and a mage. So let's look at his stats quickly. His physical damage is at 1271, but he is going to be doing magic damage. That is at 3238, which is a very good base. His critical chance is at 20.18%. His health is at 14,870. His physical armor is at 21%, and his magic armor is at 33%. His shield is at 15,922. Speed is at 132, potency is at 34%, tenacity at 31%. So a couple things to take away from his stats. His health and shield suck. He is super squishy. 2, his physical armor is downright terrible. He will get slaughtered by a physical damage dealer like a Snorri, a Reval, Sharp. Somebody like that will just cut right through him. And his potency, which we need, is at 30%, so not bad, but not the greatest. So let's get into his moves. First ability is Lava Boulder. Deals 200% of magic damage to an enemy and inflicts burning for 2 turns. So it inflicts burning for 2 turns, which ties into another move. His Storm ability deals 190% of magic damage to all enemies, with 50% chance to stun for 1 turn when dealing damage. So he has the 50% chance to stun, which is big on an AoE. Potentially, he could stun the whole team. So this is where the potency comes into effect. And then his Spectral Beast deals 360% of magic damage. If the target is stunned and burned, all enemies will be dealt an additional 100% magic damage. So he has a built-in AoE into his Spectral Beast ability, but I'm going to tell you this right now, it is almost damn near impossible to get this thing to work for the AoE. It happens, and when it does, it's great. And I would show you video of it, but I've been trying to get video of it, and it just doesn't work unless you have the turn rotation completely synced out, and it's just very, very hard to accomplish. So just take this little thing as an added bonus, and if you get it, you get it. That's just the way I have done it, and if I'm wrong, let me know. If somebody has a better way to get this to go off, you gotta let me know. And his passive ability, Korkhrim adds 30% to his potency and additional 5% for each living orc in the party. If you run him with an all-orc party, you're giving himself 55% potency, which is big. So looking at his move kit, we know we want damage, but we need survivability based on his stats, and potency because we want that stun to land on his AoE whenever we can. Now he is giving himself potency, more potency based on who you're running him with, but you're going to be running him with orcs. There's a couple different ways we could go with Korkhrim. Again, you could put an all health set on him and be perfectly fine. You'd focus on secondaries of damage as speed and potency with survivability sprinkled in. You could put a damage set on him with a health set, increasing his survivability and then increasing his magical damage. You could also put a critical chance, critical damage set on him if you're feeling a little saucy, I guess. Not the way I would go, but it could be run. Definitely want to focus more heavily on the damage secondaries there. I think I'm going to go with the damage set with the health secondary. So let me rune him and I'll be right back. Alright, we are back with a full rune amulet. Like I said, I went with the damage potency. I want to increase his overall magical damage. I want to get that potency up a little bit higher. I focused on speed and survivability with the secondary stats. So let's take a look. Obviously damage, potency, tenacity, shield, and armor. So I have the damage in the primary, I have a little more potency, and then I increased his survivability. Then I went with speed, damage, tenacity, shield, and health. Again, doing the same thing, but we're giving him 20 speed, which is huge. Then I went with armor, obviously. Armor, damage, potency, and shield, accomplishing everything we wanted to with that rune. Then I went with damage here, with health, shield, speed, and tenacity. Very good rune for him. Then on the potency ones, I went with health over shield. Then I went with damage, speed, critical chance, and armor. I went with health over shield because if you're running a Rantha lead, you are increasing your lifesteal, which is based off of your health. So that's kind of why I did that. But if you're not using him with a Rantha lead, you could go shield. And then in the Northwestern rune, obviously I went potency with speed, damage, armor, and health. So let's see what it did to his stats. Okay, we brought up his magical armor by 692, almost bringing it to 4,000 at 3930. That is awesome. For critical chance up 1%, not that worried about it. Health we brought up 1,151, bringing it to 1,621. His armor we brought up 2.91%, and his magic armor we brought up 3.6%. His shield we brought up 787, bringing it to 16,709, and his speed we brought up 28, bringing it to 160. His potency is we brought up 34.36%, bringing it to 68.36%. So if you max out his passive ability and run him with all orcs, he is over 100% potency. So that is big. And we brought up his tenacity, 35.65%. Now, the only thing that I didn't accomplish with Korkhrim is I didn't bring up his armor. You could potentially run 2 armor sets to try to increase his survivability, but the reason I didn't do that is because you're going to be running him with Tromgar when you get him, and then you're also going to have Battle Poo. So the survivability for him is good. You should have a ton up most of the time at all times. So that is why I stayed clear of the armor, focusing more on damage, speed, and other survivability aspects. So let's look at his abilities and figure out where we want to put our scrolls. His first ability at level 2 deals 100% of magic damage to an enemy, but only a 20% chance to inflict burning for 2 turns. Then we have Storm. It deals at level 2, it deals 95% of physical damage with a 15% chance to stun for 1 turn. Spectral Beast deals 150% damage, magic damage to an enemy. A stunned and burned target is dealt an additional 40% magic damage, so you don't get the AoE. And his passive ability is you get 10% potency. So where would I start with Korkhrim? So we're at level 2, all the way across the board. It isn't a guaranteed burn. It isn't a guaranteed stun. Burning enemies take more damage. So my number 1 priority is his passive ability. You want to get this up to level 6. You want to increase that potency. Because stunning enemies increases your survivability. Burning enemies is a damage over time. Doing damage effectively while the other team's taking a turn. That is huge for Korkhrim and his build in your orc team. Then I would go to Storm. You're already at level 2, and as you go up, you get magic and stun chance. I would get this one up to level 4. That gives me a 25% chance to stun, a 1 in 4 chance to stun. Then I would go to my basic ability, and I would get that to level 4. Deals 130% magic damage and a 60% chance to inflict burning for 2 turns. Then I would go back to Storm, and I would take Storm from level 4 to level 6. 50% chance to stun, 190% of his magic damage to all enemies. Then I would go to his basic at level 4, and I would take that to level 6, where I'm guaranteed the burn. And then I would go to Spectral Beast. Now the reason, Spectral Beast can do some massive damage, and it's really cool. The reason I'm telling you to hold off on Spectral Beast is, to me, simple. You're not guaranteed the stun. You're not going to have Tromgar right away. So getting that extra stun on that team is going to be tough. Burning isn't guaranteed, so why sink scrolls into something that you might not even get? Now, dealing 150% magic damage is great, and if you took that up to 4, you get 240%, but that is great. But the caveat to this move is the 80% more magic damage or the AoE ability. So, if you're not going to be guaranteed to have those, we can hold off on this ability. And at level 2, you're still doing 150% of magic damage to an enemy, so you're still going to be doing pretty good damage. So again, that's why I would leave Spectral Beast as the last thing I would put my scroll investment into. Okay, YouTube, there is the revamped Korkhrim from Noobs. I hope everybody liked it, and I hope it helped. So next up on the list, we are going to get Mortha out. So again, if you are not part of that XMG family, click that subscribe button. Be part of the XMG family. I love you all. Be safe. I'm out.